everybody, to We Geek Podcast. Today is Wednesday, April 5th. We are We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, 9 p.m. Wednesdays as always. My name is Adam, joined by my good friend Logan.
Hello.
What up, man? How was your weekend?
Wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. Same old, same old. Nothing like your weekend was, though.
Oh my gosh. Holy shit. If I wasn't fully back into wrestling before, now I am in scuba gear, diving deep. That makes no sense, but what I'm saying is I'm back in. I am just completely submerged in it right now. I didn't do literally nearly as much as I wanted to because of money and a few other things just got in the way. One thing I'm a little upset about is I wanted to go see the What Culture guys get the egg, but just plans really fell through on Monday. But I did get to go to the big show. So I was able to get to see WrestleMania live. And it is by far one of the best experiences that I've ever had. And thankfully it was now I don't know if it's because I was there, but it has to be one of my favorite. Just all the things that happen were just insane. Being there in the stadium, hearing all the people. I'm sure we'll probably we can just probably get into it right now, right?
Yeah. I think because this is gonna take most of the show this week. So.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Should we start with Mania, or should we go back and talk about first NXT or some of the other shows before it?
Yeah, we'll just start at the beginning of the weekend. We
Okay.
had the Hall of Fame on Friday, which was cool. Did you watch that?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. It was
That
great
was
to
fun.
see Jim Cornette get up and just stand on stage, because anybody with any kind of history, who knows some of the history, especially with Cornette, you knew when they were like, oh, they put Jim Cornette on the show. Have they thought this through?
Right.
It's
I've heard some of his podcasts are like, you'll see on YouTube, you'll see like Jim Cornette shoots on blah blah blah, and he has no filter.
no, none.
Doesn't care, and no one thought I guess he'd ever be in front of a WWE camera or microphone. I liked how he opened it up. He was like, the cameraman's on Xanax or something like
Yeah,
that.
the sound guy. He's like, I'm Jim Cornette. This is a live mic, and the sound guy's on Xanax. We're like, yeah, you bet the hell he is.
Oh yeah.
But
Yeah, that was great.
very cool.
I
And
love
this,
DDP's.
yeah,
Yeah, I love DDP's. He I forgot how much fun that guy was to listen to. How much energy he has. It brought me back to like 90s wrestling. Yeah, and I forgot how tall he was. Like
right.
he was a tall dude. Oh yeah. Um, any standouts for you? The Hall
Um,
of Fame?
I mean, Kurt Angle singing his greatest hits. Like,
Yeah.
you can't top that. You just can't.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
To
And
see.
I loved his message too. Just like, or at least what I took away from him. Like, don't like be afraid to just go be out there. Like, I loved how he was willing to do over the top stuff when no one else was,
Yeah.
because of how embarrassed they might be. They want to look like a top guy and a big dude, and he's there, with a cowboy hat on and pouring
Tiny
milk on
cowboy hat.
himself, and
Tiny cowboy hat. Like.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
that's that was
So
the thing. Like, he talked about, oh, don't make mistakes and blah blah blah, but his biggest message was have fun. It was that
yeah,
simple, and that's why Southpaw Regional Wrestling took off the way it did, because these guys just got together and goofed off and had fun, and it was a blast to watch. And imagine, obviously we're not going to see these guys as these characters every week, but
well, but that, if you think about it, that's exactly what New Day did.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, they went from, they thought, okay, we'll just do this one gimmick where, you know, what the beginning of New Day was,
Yeah.
and then it just morphed into this like we got unicorns and just nuts. Francesca, like it was, and then now you have Big E who's just horny all the time, and so like it's
which,
just this,
which
it's
is
just three guys going out there having fun and being just crazy over exaggerated examples of themselves. Like
yeah.
I love how they're incorporating. They could have been completely silent about what happened with Xavier Woods and Paige and whatnot, but I love that they are smart enough to know the audience is smart and to kind of hint at it in a fun way and then immediately move on, like
Yeah.
to kind of like, okay, that happened. Oh, it's fun. Like all he has to do is look sideways at Xavier Woods. That's it. It's perfect. Like to hear 70,000 people laugh at the same time is insane.
Yeah.
You know,
God.
um, that's one thing. I don't know how it came off watching it live. I went back and watched it on the network, but I didn't really get a sense of. You could tell that the crowd was insane.
Well,
I didn't know if that came off because it was a big stadium and whatnot.
it's their microphone work is better than the like actually how they mic the crowd has gotten a lot better over the last few years in the big stadiums because
Yeah.
the sound carries so much differently than it does in arenas because there's no ceiling. So they've had to
Right. Okay.
be smarter about how that works. But yeah, it I think it came across really well. Like the crowd, you could tell when they were into it, and you could tell when they weren't. It wasn't just like kind of a middling, like, well, we can kind of hear them, but we can't because we've had those manias where it's like, oh, well, it looks like the crowd's interested, but we can't really hear anything. And that's been strange. That's happened. Not it wasn't so much last year, but there've been a couple of years where it's like, oh yeah, the open airs kind of messed with everything. But no,
Oh, okay.
it came through well this year. You could really
Like I'm
see.
sure. Oh, okay. Like I'm sure we'll get to the Hardy Boys soon,
Hmm.
but that the like I took a video. People lost their minds,
Yeah.
and you couldn't hear anything except people screaming. So it was crazy. But we'll get to that, I guess, in a little bit. Let's get back to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I liked it. This was one of the first ones that I sat through and watched the whole thing. Usually I don't, but I thought, you know what? It's in Orlando. It's a part of this whole big event. I gotta see it. And yeah, man, I thought it was great. I thought it was funny, and it was long. It was way longer than I expected.
Yeah, it doesn't usually run quite so long. Like it's marketed as like a 3 hour deal, but
Okay.
when it's just live like that, I mean, anything can happen.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Teddy Long was funny.
Today, I love.
Beth Phoenix was cool.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that much about Beth because that was around the time where I didn't watch wrestling.
yeah.
Of
Beth
course,
Phoenix,
Rock and Roll Express I've only heard of,
right?
but
But yeah, no, I don't.
mm,
Beth Phoenix, uh, I'm happy for her. I'm glad she's in. She gave a great speech. I just, it's it's always gonna be a little weird that the year that China died, the kind of new era version of China is the one that goes into the Hall of Fame. Like that's always going to be kind of a cloud that hangs over it, and that sucks. But that's
maybe they wanted some time to pass. I mean, I have no doubt she'll get in it.
yeah,
You know, the WWE is weird about timing, and they I think a few years past it, you know, that's what they seem like with anything really. Whenever something really you know terrible happens, they usually remove themselves a few years, right?
yeah.
Like they did that with Macho Man, right? Like Macho Man should have been in it a long time ago.
Well, but there was a lot of bad blood there too. That there,
Right, that's what I mean.
yeah,
Hogan, for example. I was surprised they showed him a few different times during WrestleMania. There was even a guy dressed as Hogan, and on Raw. They didn't kick him out. Like, they're slowly warming up to him. I'm thinking. I was surprised he didn't show up. Maybe he will next year, but I think they have to remove themselves a few years. Or, I wouldn't. I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying that's what I'm thinking they're doing.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. She should have totally been in it this year.
But I mean, overall, was a good
let's
was a good ceremony. And yeah, seeing the Rock and Roll Express, which are still competing. They're
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're like 186, and they're still going. It's insane.
Yeah.
But,
oh yeah. Yeah. Well, here, let's take a quick look. Who do you think will be in next year?
I think Undertaker headlines the class next year.
You think it's going to be him?
Yeah, I think he's the big name. I
was going to say him or Goldberg could totally be in it.
Yeah.
I think Goldberg's definitely going to be in it because of this last run.
Oh yeah.
I think he deserves to be. He, him and Sting were the two big dogs over at WCW for the longest time. The faces, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could definitely see it. In a way, I wish the Undertaker just never showed his face again.
It kind of, yeah.
He descended into the ramp and then poof, he's gone.
That's it. Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah. I don't know. You could definitely go either way with those. And I don't know who the because I can't even begin to imagine who the other superstars would be. The women's superstar next year is going to be interesting though, because they're not. To be fair, there's not a tremendous depth of legendary female talent. So I don't know if they grab maybe they talk Molly Holly into it, maybe Jazz, and then maybe next year is China. I don't know, but there's not. Just from the years that they had where we had the quote unquote divas division, there's not a lot there you can really draw from, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I don't really know who. Maybe Eva Marie. Wouldn't that be something? Man, what happened to her? She's just not anywhere with the W. I don't think she even works for them anymore.
No, I
right?
think she's done. I don't think it's like an official thing, but I don't think she's coming back. No, she's right. Filming movies that nobody's gonna watch, and she's working on her fashion line, and that's just it.
Hey, good for her. I guess we'll find out if she's in Total Divas, right? If she's just completely gone from it.
Well, that's part of it. You've seen it in the ads. They mention her suspension.
Well, no, I mean after this. I mean, not this upcoming, because this is the second half of the season, right?
Yeah.
I mean after that. We'll find out, because after that will be around kind of this time frame. Right?
Yeah. Sort of. Something like that.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah. I think
you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's just to say I think it's they'll show her suspension, and there'll be a big dramatic shot of her getting on a plane or something, and that'll be it. That'll be the end of Eva Marie.
It's crazy because the whole show started with her, revolved around her in a way, at the beginning of her career, her and JoJo, I guess. Maybe they'll bring JoJo back because she's cool.
Yeah. Well, she's a ring announcer. She's still around.
That's what I mean. Yeah. I'm saying maybe they incorporate her back into the show because she travels around with them everywhere they go.
True.
It's going to be interesting seeing how Total Divas continues now that there's a split brand, because what are they going to have cameras on both sets?
Probably.
Yeah. We'll see different interacting. Oh, man. Hopefully Alexa Bliss is in it or something. She's great.
Yeah.
She was so tiny on the ramp. I was like, what? Can't see her.
Good God, man, that ramp. Holy shit. That was a runway. That wasn't an entrance ramp.
Yeah, no, it really was. And I kept thinking, if someone fell from it, they would die. Or they would get hurt.
Yeah.
If they slipped and fell off, if it rained or something, they'd be donezo. Yeah, the ramp was so big. Like now it makes sense how the show ended, why it was so big, and what needed to happen.
Yeah.
Um, now it makes sense, but seeing that, I'm like, is it? It looked like EDC when I went to the stadium. I was like, this is insane. Like the production, and they cut off like a quarter of the stadium. That was one thing. I got in on one side of the stadium, and I was supposed to be on the other end. So I was like, oh, okay, it's like a few sections to the right, but that's right, that's where the stage is, and it's just completely cut off. And they're like, no, you need to go walk all the way around.
Ouch.
I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Good thing we got there a little bit early.
Damn. That was
Um,
God. That set was amazing. That was just
yeah.
that thing was fabulous. Holy hell.
Oh yeah, and I saw like the New Day post something online like a day or two early, and I was just like, that is it. But it looked crazy in the video, but in person, it was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And the big ass ring on top of the ring that like lit up and changed colors, and uh, they would change like the ring post and the thing up above. I think for SmackDown or Raw, it would go like red or then blue. Um, there was just so many things incorporated. Like it was the production that like the one thing I didn't notice while I was there that I noticed while I was watching the network was that the stage or the ramp had, had like it lit up, like it had like a like the snake coming down it
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't see any of that sitting in the stands because I only saw the side view.
Ah. Okay. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Well, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll dive into some NXT. Did you watch any Ring of Honor?
I did not. I didn't watch the Supercard. No, I didn't.
I didn't either, so I guess we won't talk about that. But we'll talk about some other things. We'll talk about WrestleMania. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And we're just going over WrestleMania weekend here in Orlando. We talked a little bit about the Hall of Fame. And you want to get into NXT Takeover Orlando?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
All right, yeah. So this was, like I said, there was a million things I wanted to do this weekend, but I honestly only had enough money for one thing. So this kind of, oh man, I would have loved to seen this, but I just watched it on the network, which was still fun. I thought it was a great show. What did you think?
It was a solid show. The NXT title match was a little underwhelming, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not bad, but just I I don't know. It wasn't. I was expecting more, I guess, and so I was a little bummed.
Yeah.
But I don't know. The women's title match was interesting. The choice at the end to have Asuka kind of take the cheap way out, that was
Right.
that was different.
Yeah, I was, I thought that she would have been called up. I thought it would have been actually pretty great if was called up right with Nakamura. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, it would have been cool for her to leave NXT undefeated.
Yeah,
I
it
think that would have been awesome.
But I don't know how you would do that though. Like she can't leave with the title though.
Then they would just make a tournament to see who, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you would do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess you're right. She would have to lose, but I don't know. They could do something. That would just be such a cool thing to be like completely undefeated. She vacates the title because she's called up. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess you're right. You can't really do that.
Yeah, they could have. I don't know. They could have made that the prize of the women's tournament that they're doing over the summer.
Yep, bingo, exactly.
So there you go. That could
and then she would, and still, once she gets called up, have the streak continue. That would be such a cool thing to have. Put her on, put her on SmackDown or Raw, and just make her, build her up to, um, take on Jax or something. It'd be cool. I thought what I really liked was the tag team. elimination match.
The triple threat, that match, Jesus, I'm telling you what, you want a clinic on tag team wrestling and ring psychology, go to school on that match. That match,
Mm-hmm.
DIY and the Revival have had the feud of the decade. They honestly have. Their matches have been amazing. Their 2 out of 3 falls match at Takeover Toronto was one of the greatest tag team matches I've ever seen. And this 2 out of 3 falls match, what they did, the story they told, and how all of that worked. It showed the chemistry between them while still making the Authors of Pain look like these unstoppable monsters. It was brilliant. It was an absolute classic. It was incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I loved every minute of that match. That to me stole the show.
Yeah.
I think it was the best match they had on the card. Um, yeah, it was by far the best. I completely agree with everything you just said. um, you know, the 8-person tag team match was a little crazy. But yeah, overall I thought it was a good show. It was nice to, it was cool to see, NXT take over in Orlando, their hometown.
Yeah.
Um, and that's one thing I didn't know taking away this whole weekend was the crowd as crazy as they were because it was in Orlando, because it was Mania weekend, or both? I couldn't figure it out.
Both, probably.
That's what I was thinking, because they just seemed really smart. Like I don't know. They knew when to cheer, they knew when to boo, and they knew when to just not shut up.
Yeah.
They seemed to not shut up a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's fun. It was fun. Anything else you want to say about Takeover?
No, just it was fun to see a Takeover back in Orlando. I mean, their first one was Takeover Arrival was at Full Sail, and the atmosphere. I count my blessings that I was that was there when I was there, because it was incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I've watched that on the network. It had Bo Dallas in it, right?
Yeah, that was back when Bo was actually somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to get into Mania?
Sure. Let's go for it.
All right. So I met up with some friends. Went over to my buddy's house. They were sitting in. You remember how I was saying last week? I didn't know if I should just get tickets to Raw or SmackDown or Mania. And I finally bit the bullet. It's Mania was. I figured it's in Orlando. It might not be here for another 10 years. It might be it would be a completely different card then.
Yeah.
And I'm so back in it right now. It would be just a shame if I missed that. So I pulled the trigger. I was like, all right, I can do that show. Hung out with my friends. They were in different seats and whatnot. But I did get the ticket near someone that I knew, so that was important. But yeah, we pre-gamed. We went to his place, him and his dad and a bunch of people, and for like 2 or 3 hours beforehand, we just had fun. And then we went there, and then we met a whole bunch of people in the parking lot, tailgating. They're blaring, you name it, Bret Hart music, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Vince McMahon, no chance. Yeah, just a whole bunch of crazy wrestling fans. Everyone's dressed up to the nines. Everyone's got belts, the Intercontinental Champ, the everything, the $1 million belt. And yeah, then we went in. And it surprisingly was not a nightmare to get to my seats. I listened to the Co-Optional podcast with Total Biscuit, and I remember listening to him talk about his experience in Texas and how it took them hours just to get in the building in Dallas, and then hours just to get to the seat, and didn't experience any of that here. We walked right in, showed our tickets, went through security, took literally 2 seconds. And it just took a while to walk completely around the building, but not once did I stop because there was like a line for anything. The only time there was a line was in the like when I was going to the bathroom.
Sure.
Um, yeah, and I spaced it out pretty good. I took a bathroom break basically when, they were doing the they were showing the videos of the matches beforehand. What do you call it?
The video packages. Yeah.
Video package. I knew I had like 10 minutes, and it was crazy because I didn't know what was going on next. I didn't know the order of things, but I don't think I missed a single entrance. I didn't miss anything like that. I think I missed the very beginning of Triple H, but that was it. But I saw him come out on his motorcycle with a bunch of cops, but at the very beginning of it, I didn't see. But yeah, man. So like, yeah, we sit down. Let's see, let's take it off the top. It was the battle royale, right?
Cruiserweight title was first, I think.
Oh yeah, that's right. What did you think of that one?
It was good. It was a good solid match. It didn't really have the Mania feel, I thought, but I didn't know. It was a title match I didn't know what to expect from, but it was a good match. I enjoyed it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was good. It was so early in the day. Like, yeah, it I don't know if it would have been better somewhere else on the card, but it was awesome. That was one where like I had to watch the TV screen, the big old screen. And that was one of the cool things is, I knew that if you were in the bowl and not on the ground, it was probably going to be hard to see them because it's a big stadium.
Right.
But what made it, whatever reason, didn't click in my head because I thought, oh, I'm not going to be able to see it, not going to be able to hear things. That's going to kind of suck. But there's giant screens in the stadium, so it's kind of like, comparing it to like you're seeing it on the big screen. You can look down and watch them wrestle as well, but you can also look at the big screen and you're surrounded by 70,000 plus fans. Makes it awesome.
Yeah.
And so yes. So I thought that was a great match. That's right when I was getting it. So I sat down like in the middle of that match. The first one that I like was in my seat watching the whole thing was the battle royale, and that was fun. I didn't expect Gronk to be there or Mojo Rawley to win. It was funny because
nobody had Mojo Rawley winning that. Nobody, except for Adam freaking Pacitti. Like, he was the only person on the planet that had called that.
Yeah. Oh, man, it was crazy. And it was funny because the night before, I met up with one of my friends who never really goes downtown and his girlfriend. We went to a Christmas bar because my buddy bartends there, Josh. And we went up, we said hi to him and stuff. We were telling him, everyone's in town for Mania. He's met Enzo. Like, he literally has Enzo's number. Damn. Because they used to Enzo watched football at his bar on Sundays when he was still in NXT. He got the girl's shirt signed or whatever. We took it the next day, but he also he doesn't know Mojo, but Mojo came into the bar I guess a few weeks prior with Gronk's brother. Like, nice. I guess he's like friends with that family.
Yeah, they're real tight.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, and he showed me a video of them, taking shots and stuff. And I was like, that's so cool. And then literally the next day he wins. And I was like, and then I see him in the ring with Gronk and I'm like, that's awesome. Like, that it totally makes sense now. So I thought that was really cool. And my buddy got a picture with Big Cass. So I thought that was awesome.
Nice.
But anyway, yeah. So the Battle Royale, surprisingly, I thought Braun was going to win it. I don't like how they're booking him. I don't like they're making him look weak or scared when he's supposed to be this big beast that just kills everything.
Yeah.
Maybe this is supposed to be Big Show's last Mania, right?
That was that was kind of the talk going around, and even he did an interview with, what was it, Bleacher Report, I think, where he was like, yeah, this is the end of it.
Oh, it stinks. I think maybe they should have been in a match by themselves this year, and then Big Show put Braun over. That would have been really cool.
Well, they did that on Raw, though. They had a really solid match a couple weeks ago.
No, I completely agree, but I think maybe they should have saved that for Mania.
Eh.
If they didn't have plans, it didn't seem like they had plans for them. They went out pretty early.
Well, I mean, they had, they were still thinking Big Show Shaq, and then when that fell apart a few weeks ago, I guess they didn't really know what to throw together real fast because they had a pretty damn full card.
Yeah, no, I agree. It just his last Mania. I don't know. I hope that he does one more as a send off.
Yeah.
That would be neat. And he's in great shape too. Like, why not? You're in best shape of your life. You don't have to. You don't really have to even wrestle that much this year. Just kind of do what the Undertaker do. Show up a few months before Mania, start something, and then have your big send off. And if everybody knows it's your big send off, it's gonna be special because people like the Big Show, even though the last however many years he just hasn't been used right. I think the fans still respect him enough to be into whatever he does, as his last match.
Yeah.
Now the next match I thought it was pretty boring. Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin.
Yeah, that was just, you watched that and you were like, wow, yeah, these two again who are not like Ambrose. I'm sorry, Ambrose, and we'll get to Orton later, are just not interesting. They're boring. They're lame. They need a shakeup. For Orton, it's too late, but for Ambrose, he could still do something interesting. He's in need of a heel turn.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to swing, but
yes, I could see that.
Yeah.
That would actually be really good. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, I just thought, and I'm surprised that Baron Corbin didn't win, but it was. I think this. Again, I'm seeing it through a different eye set because I was still excited. I was sitting there just gawking at everything and being around everybody and high-fiving people around me, and I kept thinking, like, I don't know if like, I didn't know if it would be different sitting on watching on TV, that kind of stuff, because it's weird. Like, you're paying attention to the match, but at the same time you're just in awe of everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one where I could tell most of the people around me too weren't in. They were all talking about what do you think's going to happen, this, that, that kind of. People seem distracted, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
But the next one, holy shit, it was so much better than I thought it would be. AJ Styles and Shane McMahon.
Well, that was the match that actually opened the main show, and it was weird seeing that go on first, because I was on Twitter and on that group and everything, and just watching everybody like, this one first? What the hell's going on? And then they go out there, and I'm sorry, Shane McMahon pulls out the shooting star press. He hasn't done that in like 20 years. Are you fucking kidding me? That was incredible.
Oh yeah, yeah. They sold everything so well. I loved it. That got everyone off their asses, and it was funny hearing, because there was a group of guys sitting behind me, maybe like 8 guys, and you can tell they've been into wrestling their whole life, and they were just really smart about, like, they knew everything, and it was just funny to hear them like, oh my god, this is way better. Like, they were being like, smart asses and stuff before it, and then about halfway through the match, they're like, I take back everything I said. Like, this is awesome. And everyone's cheering, and it was fantastic. It was a really good match. I loved it. It was one of my, there was a lot of good matches that night, and I think that was one of the ones that was really good for the SmackDown side.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Oh yeah. And the next one, or should we take a quick break?
Well, we could
probably.
Yeah, might as well. We'll stretch this to a break because I don't want to split our.
Right. And this was the one where it started to get a little bit dark, so people's entrances started looking really cool.
Yeah.
But when we get back, we'll talk about Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens. Again, you listen to We Geek Podcast on N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And before we left off, we were about to talk about Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. Man, Kevin Owens' music needs to change. I don't like that. It just sounds so generic.
Yeah.
It was exciting for him to come out. People cheered, but nothing like Chris Jericho. When you see the 8, 7, 6, 5, and it counts down, and it goes break the walls. Just the whole stadium lost it, and you see he had like a light up scarf on,
It was yeah,
uh,
like good for him.
and they blew up this big list of Jericho next to him, which I thought was really cool.
That was one of my favorite things of the night. It was just like seeing this. I was like, holy shit, that's fantastic.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And it was an okay match. I don't know. I thought it'd be bigger. I thought this match would be much bigger. Maybe go on later because of the buildup that it had all year.
Yeah.
Um, the one moment that stood out to me was the finger, the tip of the finger on.
Oh, that was such a brilliant moment.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah, it was fantastic. The little comedy bits that those two guys throw in are fantastic. I thought the ending was a little weak because it was just the power bomb on the side, and it didn't seem like, I don't know, it just didn't seem it seemed anticlimactic, at least in the stands. That's what it seemed like.
Mm.
And I remember everyone around me was just like, "Oh, that's it? Okay, all right. Well, I thought other things would happen, but that's okay." I think we all. I guess I thought that would be the outcome because I read that he was leaving to go on tour, but I guess he's not doing that for like a month.
Yeah, I think he's still around for another. He's still around through Payback, but he'll lose there, and then he'll go on tour.
Oh, okay, okay. So he could have actually won that match and then just lost it in a month. So, but yeah, no, I mean, at least now, Kevin Owens still has the top title on Raw because the other one's never going to be there.
He's not, man. Brock is not
If you
scheduled
think about it,
to be back for a month. That's
that's
ridiculous.
insane.
Uh,
That is too, man. And people seem to like him now, like him more than they used to. I think, we'll get to the end of Mania, but what happened at the end of Mania, I think, took a lot of the heat off of Brock. There's not that much hate for Brock anymore when you when someone else is way more deserving, I guess.
uh-huh.
But yeah, I thought it was an okay match. It just, to me, maybe it was a little bit shorter and it was anticlimactic. But the next one was really fun to watch. The entrances were just on point. Bailey, Charlotte, Sasha, and Nia Jax. What did you think of this one?
I loved it. I loved they channeled a little bit of the tag team match from NXT the night before in the whole we all
Okay.
have to team up to take out the monster.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah. Yeah. I loved that.
yeah, that played so well. And it was a way to, I obviously you wanted those three to be the last three, but how do you do that without making Nia Jax look weak? So you just have this massive triple power bomb after all that. Like that was cool. That was a great moment.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I like Charlotte Flair trying to give him a high five and stuff. Like it was perfect. I love the way they did it.
Yeah.
The only thing I think they could have done differently, and this is I guess what most people think too, is Bailey should have won the championship here.
Yes.
I think it would have had more of an impact. People were up in their seats cheering and everything for Bailey. I loved her intro and stuff, but I think it would have been way bigger of an impact of her getting the win here and winning in Orlando. I thought she's been in Orlando for however many years now. It's been years, being in NXT and whatnot. That would have been really cool. I loved her Macho Man outfit and how she ended with the elbow. You can tell in a lot of stuff she does. I guess maybe this is wide known, but she totally takes a lot of the stuff from the Macho Man.
Oh
Her
yeah.
whole outfit, the elbow drop. I feel like a dum dum for being late on that, but I just realized that I was like, yeah, a lot of the stuff she does is Macho Man, which is really cool. That's awesome. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, even
Um,
the cape. I loved it. Took me a minute to see like, oh, it's a big cape, it's a big WrestleMania moment and everything, and I was like, oh no, wait a minute. She's like that's directly referencing the match from Savage and Steamboat from WrestleMania 3.
yeah.
Like it
Oh
took me
yeah.
a minute to put that together, but then I was like, oh yeah, duh, of course.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And Flair with the fireworks. It was cool. They all did a lot of cool entrances. But the next one was probably the loudest I think the stadium got all night.
Yeah, what was that like? Hearing it on the network was huge, but what was that pop like live?
Well, let me set it up. Okay, so that day, or maybe, or I'm sorry, a day or two earlier, I read online quote from Jeff Hardy saying and it was almost like it was real, and it was a very serious kind of like, you know, we're gonna stay with ROH. We're gonna see what we can do. We want to. There's a lot of people we want to fight. Blah 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 blah. We haven't made any sort of deal with WWE yet, but maybe look for us later in the year. And just it was very like a serious total sway. And I thought, well, okay, so it's official. They're not doing that. They had a live event right before WrestleMania in downtown Orlando, like a meet and greet. And they did like a wrestling match, literally until 6 p.m. So, I guess a lot of people were like, well, it closed at 6 p.m. Maybe they're going to come. I just thought, for whatever reason, in the back of my head, I thought, no, that they're really, it's not them. And when New Day came out, I thought, okay, New Day is going to interest themselves in the match. And it was just total swerve. And when the Hardy's Boy music hit, that place erupted. Like everybody was out of their seats, jumping and cheering, clapping and hollering, and I've never been around that many people, yelling to the top of their lungs. I've been to like EDC and Tomorrow World, and maybe that's the closest it's gotten, but there's always music playing and stuff like that, and it was surreal. And the pyro and everything else going off, and the energy just never stopped. When they got in the ring and what they were doing, I don't think anyone sat down.
Yeah.
It all seems like a blur during that match. Until you got to see Enzo climb it and Cass kind of lift him up a little bit, and of course Jeff getting on that tall ass ladder. Anyone in the stadium, you could be in the nosebleeds and you saw that man climb that ladder, and it just looked insane. And him jump off of it, and it was just, it never, like, that was the moment where everyone was on their feet, not just for that match, but it seemed like a few other ones. That's when the energy just that was definitely by far the biggest pop of the whole night. Everyone lost their shit. Even the people behind me were like, I didn't think they were going to do it, but they did it. They're back. Like, no one believed it. Hats off to the WWE for listening. And especially when he started doing the delete thing, because we couldn't tell if he was in character or not. We couldn't tell if he was broken.
Yeah.
Because of course we can't hear anything. We can't, we just see him doing his delete thing or whatever. And maybe he said it, but there was just so many people yelling. But once he started doing it, everyone thought, okay, well, he's in character. And his face lights up and all that other stuff, and it was like, wow, this is crazy. And yeah, just Jeff jumping off that, and then winning the titles, it was really surreal. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, I think I scared my girlfriend a little bit, because when the New Day came out and they were like, "There's a fourth team," and I was on the floor, like I'm on my knees in front of the TV, like, "Don't you tease me like this! Do not do this! Don't tell me this!" Because I was like, it has to be the Hardys. And then there's Kofi like taking off his jacket and everything and getting ready to rumble, and I'm like, no, come on, don't do this. And then that Attitude Era music hit, and I could have jumped to the moon, man. My favorite. I mean, Jeff Hardy, hands down, has been my favorite wrestler ever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's I have nothing but respect for so many others, but nobody has excited me as much as Jeff Hardy did, and so to see the Hardys back in WWE, yes, that to me was the moment of the night, from their entrance to them winning the titles. Like, that was, for everything else that was cool that happened at Mania, that was it for me.
Oh yeah, it was a shot in the arm, that whole thing. Like, just the stunts they were doing. And let's be honest, that's what most of this is. It's stunts.
Mm-hmm.
And to see them at their age jumping and just going, it's like you said, straight up attitude error. Like, if it would have been just those three teams in the match, I thought End Zone Cass had it. I thought this was going to be their big moment. But once the Hardy Boys came out, I thought, okay, now it's anyone's. It's gonna. I thought it's got to be either the Hardys or Big and Cass. Um, and they stole the show. They absolutely stole it. And people were still cheering like the whole way through. They were losing their minds. I'm glad it came off on the television because I couldn't tell. I didn't know if people could tell or not, but oh my god, it was insane.
Yeah, the second their music hit, like that pop, like you get the big
Yeah,
cheers and everything, but that, I mean, it was, you could feel like, holy shit, this crowd has just gone bananas.
yeah. If there's, I'm sure the WWE Network is going to do like a top 10 moments from WWE's, or that's got to be one of them
Oh yeah.
for comebacks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and real fast, like I didn't even talk about New Day, like their whole Final Fantasy. When I saw them come out and I saw the big side panels, and I was like, "Is that a chocobo?" And whatever that little white thing with the ball nose, I was like, "That's Final Fantasy." And it didn't hit me until they showed like a commercial for the new Final Fantasy online expansion or something. I was like, "Oh my god, holy shit!" They just totally came out in cosplay. Like, I hope they do that every year. Some nerd, I hope next year it's Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, or something.
Well, because remember last year they had the Saiyan armor.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that and that's that. Well, was that
Mm-hmm.
last year or the year before?
No, it's last year.
That was last year. Okay, because that was one of what I think. That's right around the time where I really started getting into it. A year before I watched Mania, and I was on and off throughout the year, and then that's when I really started watching, when they came out of that cereal box with
Yeah.
the Saiyan outfits. And you don't even have to be a wrestling fan, just be into Dragon Ball Z and be like, oh my god, that's got my attention. Who the fuck are these guys? It's so smart what they're doing with New Day, man. And like I said, when they came out to the ring and they made their jokes and pulled the levers, and Big E just looks at at Woods, everyone in the stands just lost it, and it was perfect. But they did such a good job too, I thought.
Yeah, there was a great that
That
played.
bait switch.
Yeah, that played so well on the network with Big E doing the whole, and now we will pull our levers and Xavier Woods, because it just held on Woods. Like they cut to the single that was just Woods, like staring
And
sideways
he
at
was
Big
mad.
E. Yeah, say E, and just staring at him, and that played it. They played it
Yeah.
so well. It was great.
Oh yeah, and we saw all that on the big screen. So I saw the Big E's eyes just look over back and forth, back and forth. It's just everyone lost their minds. It was funny, but man, yeah, that big swerve with Hardy Boys, by far probably my favorite moments the whole night.
Yeah.
Um, the next match was way better than I thought it would be. Like, I don't know if it played off like that on television, but when the Miz came out, especially, people lost their minds. And he would stand up on the turnbuckle, and I would look down and see everyone in the crowd on that side jump up in the stands while he's screaming at them, and he would go back and forth. Now, I didn't see this match on the network. I skipped a few of them. Did it play off well?
It played, yeah, it played really well on the network. Yeah, you did see like the Miz go to one side and fire up the crowd, and it was great.
Yeah.
And that made the rest of the match so disappointing because the actual match kind of sucked.
Oh yes, I couldn't tell.
Eh.
I thought it was good from the stands. But yeah, just seeing the Miz get like shit, like people, like the Miz is since I've been watching, this is because when I started watching, he was doing the Miz, and then they had what's his face, like his like
Sandow,
partner
Damian
or
Sandow.
whatever,
Yeah.
Sandow, and that was funny. But then he kind of didn't do anything after that until now, with with the whole SmackDown and stuff, talking smack. That was really when he just spiked back up. But seeing how the crowd reacted to him was really cool. And then, of course, with the proposal at the end, which surprisingly, a lot of people in the stands were, I think, respectful for it. I couldn't tell. I didn't watch the network at this moment. Were people boo? Like, could you hear people booing and stuff? Because it seemed like people were clapping and
It it
screaming
was,
and whatnot.
yeah, like they kind of laid out, like you could tell if this was like a real smarky kind of crowd, they would have pissed all over it just because. But they were, it was respectful. Like it wasn't something like, oh, we hate love, I can't believe you did it. No, it was nice. It played all right.
And what was really cool, and I said this in the group that we're in. One of my favorite things about the night was this little boy that was sitting next to me, and he was cool the whole night. He was giving everyone around us high fives. He was dressed head to toe Cena. We were telling his dad like props for Dad of the Year there. It really changed the way I looked at everything. I was cheering for Cena the whole time because he was, he would say little things like, "You guys better not boost Cena" or something like that. And it really made me like, okay, I get it. Like being in the stands, sitting next to a kid, you don't want to, it's like telling a kid about Santa Claus or something. Like you don't want to ruin it for them.
Right.
And so even the kids behind us, who you could tell do not like Cena, do not like Roman, do not like any of that, they were cheering for Cena for him, and they were giving him a high five. And when he, he saw the proposal, I was like, "You're gonna tell all your buddies at school?" He goes, "I can't wait!" Like his face, just seeing his face light up when his favorite wrestlers came out, especially Cena, was just so cool to see. And his dad was eating it up too. It was just such a cool thing to see, and that's what it's all about, right? Like,
Yeah. That's
the kids. So he loved that moment. He was like, "Oh my God, they're getting married." He didn't know, like the kid didn't know, until all that went down and he got on his knee and stuff like that, and he just lost his mind. And I thought it was such a cool moment. It really was.
nice.
Yeah. And to skip forward for a second, I like how the Miz used it, as like, look how fake they are.
Uh,
But it was really cool. It was really cool to see. We're probably coming up against a break, aren't we?
yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get more into some WrestleMania. Again, you're listening to the We Geek podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek podcast on the N.FM. When we left off, we were talking about John Cena getting married. So that was cool. I liked I liked how he built that up. I liked how he was like, when you went into the OR, you were completely, just on drugs, and I told you something, and now I was going to tell you. I thought that was really cool. I thought it was a cool moment. It wasn't just like he got on one knee and asked for Mary. There was a cool little story with it. Um, uh, the next match. What did you think of Seth Rollins versus Triple H?
That match was good. It was handled well. It was choreographed well. The table spot was great. I loved it. It was a nice bit
Oh yeah.
of, it's about time, that needed to happen. And it's great
Yeah.
that they're allowing that to happen at WrestleMania, because Steph gets a year of heat, and then something happens. Last year she got speared. This year she goes through a table. Like, cool, very
Hmm.
cool. Triple H's entrance was, and you see it on the network. The delay, how long they held on everybody before they actually made their entrance, was a little
Hmm.
jarring. And I don't know how they would fix that, or what all needed to be done. But his entrance in particular was like, okay, this this is a little silly, even by Triple H WrestleMania entrance standards.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. That's when I went pee. There was enough time between Cena proposing and that, to where I walked up to the stands, and I saw the cops going down, and I saw the Mortal Kombat spinning Triple H look like a buff bronze god up in the up in the uh,
Yeah.
digital signs or whatever. And that's what made me think, like, wouldn't it be so cool if they did like a Mortal Kombat style game with these wrestlers? Not like the iPad game or whatever, but I mean like an actual, how they do the Injustice. If one year they're like, "Hey, we've done Mortal Kombat, we've done Injustice, let's do WWE, same kind of style." Can't really kill them, but Oh man, that would be so cool. Undertaker, Kane, like they're so over the top. But that's what the Triple H thing looked like.
Yeah.
Just spinning. But yeah, he came out, and did his whole spit thing, and the little kid next to me was like, "That's my mom's favorite." you know, Triple H, yeah.
uh,
So I thought that was cool. But I thought it was a really good match. They kept, you can even tell being in the stands and just watching the big Tron thing that they really told a great story with his knee and how
yeah.
injured it was, and
Yeah.
kept relying on hitting that. And the guys behind me were like, "Oh my God, Triple H! I guess he loses every other year or something like that." And they're like, "He broke the streak. He lost 2 years in a row, and it's maybe next year he'll lose the Dean." That's what they said.
Well, because he's lost to the other two members of the Shield now, so it makes sense.
Exactly, and I'm glad Seth won because it seemed they just kept screwing him over. So I'm glad he's won, and
Yeah.
his whole thing with he had the big torch, and I didn't see it go down the ramp. I just saw the ring light up with it,
Yeah.
and I thought that was cool. He looked like a Power Ranger. He was just shiny gold walking down. But yeah, I liked at the end with Stephanie going through the table. That was perfect. Um, yeah, it was a great match. The next one was weird. I was kind of bored with it. The Randy Orton Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
and this is where I had yeah. This is where I'd run to the bathroom again, and but I got back in more than enough time to see Bray Wyatt's entrance. Um, and man, that was cool in the stands with all those lights and his lantern walking down the ring. That was crazy. That
uh,
was
yeah. I'll bet that was a moment. Seeing 70 plus K all holding up their phone flashlights. I bet that was something.
yeah, it was poetry. It was you can't. It's hard to explain that. Yeah, it was really surreal. I took a video of it. And I'll put it up on the Facebook page, but it looked really cool. And the thing that surprised me the most was when all of a sudden the ring turned into worms and shit, and I was like, everyone was like, "What the fuck are we seeing? What is this?" And you see Randy Orton freaked out running out of the ring. That was, when it did it I think 2 or 3 times. That was weird. That was cool and weird. But other than that, I don't like how Randy Orton won. I think what happened after SummerSlam is I think Vince McMahon sat down to both of them and was like, "Hey guys, I'm giving you both the belts for what you just did, especially you, Randy. You just opened your head open. Um, we're gonna give you the belt." I think that must have happened because I hate how Wyatt lost it. Like, I don't like how that was booked at all.
No, it was that, and here's where I have my problems. Everything that people chant at John Cena, they should be chanting at Randy Orton, because Randy Orton is the one who goes out into the ring and puts on the same boring match with the same move set and doesn't do anything interesting. John Cena, you give him a microphone and he's gonna have charisma. Randy Orton, since he stopped being actually evil a handful of years ago, has just been bland. He's boring, he's uninspiring, and I don't like I want him to pick something. That's why when he decided to be a member of the Wyatt family, I was like, "Oh, at least that's a thing." And then it's like, "Oh, well, of course he turned on him, and now we have this match, and Bray Wyatt has supernatural powers like he said he did. Hey, that's fun with the gimmick. That works. I like this. Yeah, it's silly, it's over the top, but it was appropriate. But in the end, it meant nothing."
Maybe he'll join New Day or something. That Tell me that would not be a fun thing to see, a goofy, complete off the wall goofball Randy Orton with New Day with ice cream and stuff. That would be such a different change. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, him or Dean or something like that. I think that would be such a drastic change for those two that people would get behind them. And like we were talking about earlier with Kurt, like you gotta take chances with stuff like that. And you're right. I mean, Randy Orton just comes off like, okay, he's a guy with a bunch of tattoos. The one thing he has the RKO that, RKO out of nowhere. That's about the exciting his matches get, because everyone's waiting for him to just pop it in somewhere.
Yeah.
And what was it, a few WrestleMania goes when he did it to Seth? That was really cool, but there's not much to it. And yeah, I didn't, this just wasn't exciting, except for when Bray did his mind trick thingies. That was really cool. I've never seen that before. I don't
Yeah.
know if they've done that in another match, but it seemed really different. But yeah, the next match surprised the hell out of me. I loved it. For everyone talking about how it's the Undertaker's last match, it really hit me that day. This might be Goldberg's last match too. And I like that. It was a lot of the same moves, of course, but they told a really good story.
Yeah, that was exactly how that match needed to be booked. It was
Yeah,
exactly what it needed to be. It was perfect. And
yeah.
showing.
It's almost a shame that Goldberg is now. He seemed like he's been in interviews and stuff where he's been miserable, but it seems like he just got his mojo back. Um,
Yeah.
and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no, it's all right. But it was just, yeah, these are two guys with limited move sets, but the way they worked it was exactly what they needed to do. The three suplexes and then the spear and then another spear.
He just stood right up into the spirit. It was perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly what it needed to be. And then through the barricade, and then back in the ring, and then the way it all broke down. And Brock, god damn, I forgot that Brock was athletic. Like I mean,
Yeah,
he went over him for that, and
he
that
jumped right over him.
it,
Yeah,
it was crazy. And you're like,
and
oh yeah, remember when Brock was amazing like that?
and it was
Uh,
loud too. All those people in the stands, and that was the loudest thing, especially when they went through the barricade and when they were slamming each other. It was thunderous. I don't know if they were doing it with a microphone or if it was just natural, but it was so loud. Like when they were hitting the mats, it it was such a good match. I was glued the entire time. I think we all kind of knew the outcome just because it had to happen. Goldberg, maybe he'll come back and do another run on something, or be involved in some way. Who knows? But if that was his last match, I think he went out. Definitely, know, uh, making up for the last time they were together in the Mania. I mean, that's kind of what the whole point of it was. Like, okay, we can do this better.
yeah, and they did.
Um, yeah, I thought it was good. I don't like that Brock Lesnar has the championship. I think he's a boring champ that's barely there, and that sucks. I would rather see someone like Kevin Owens who goes out everywhere he goes and puts it on the line. That sucks. I hope that with like Nakamura and all these other people coming up that they do switch it around. I know we got rumor that it's going to be Brock and Roman next year. I hope that Brock doesn't hold it the whole year. If he has it by the end of, I don't even think they need the belt for that match, right?
I no, I don't. And
Just for
I
bragging rights. Right.
exactly. It should have been what Goldberg Lesnar I thought was supposed to be. Was just these guys are just going to fight each other just because one has to be better. Like they didn't need the title.
Right.
To put the title in that was all it did was devalue the title because it was thrown in as an afterthought. No, for their when they decide to finally do Brock and Roman one on one again, it does there should be no title. It should just be those two seeing who's whether it's the Beast or the guy who got booed for 12 and a half straight minutes on Raw.
Right, right, right. I mean, think about it. Think about it. If it would have been if Jericho never got the belt, and it would have been, think about this. If Kevin Owens still had the Universal title, and Jericho did not have the United States Champion title, you could have had Jericho win, get the Universal Championship. Have him get the USA and lose it to Sammy before Mania, and then have him get the Universal Championship at WrestleMania from Kevin Owens. How big of a pop would that be? And have that would be like the last belt Jericho needs before he can retire.
Yeah.
And then he can lose it in a month when he goes on tour, and Brock and Goldberg would have still had such a cool match without it. That's how that should have been booked.
Yeah.
Because Jericho winning the Universal Championship at Mania, people would have lost their minds. It would have been such a great ending to their rivalry, and then have them lose it to someone in a month from now, Nakamura, or who knows, AJ or something. Once they shake everything up, that would have been such a cool way to do that. But Vince McMahon. So anyway, um, the 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 next match, Naomi, Bliss, Carmella, with James Ellsworth. How about that? James Ellsworth, second to last match at Mania.
God,
He goes on after Brock Lesnar.
James Ellsworth had a WrestleMania moment, man.
He did. Mickey James, Natalia, and Becky Lynch. I thought this was a cool match. I don't know how it came off on TV. Oh, I do actually watch this one. One of my favorite moments watching on TV is when Alexa Bliss gets out of the ring and she just goes, no, 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 when someone was chasing her.
Yeah.
I forgot who it was. She was just like, no, 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 no. Like, she's funny to listen to in a match. She reminds me sort of like Kevin Owens because she's very vocal.
A little bit.
And she's got the timing down perfect.
Yeah. No, this match, for being moved off the pre-show to the main show, it kind of got stuck in the least enviable position of being the bridge between the title matches and the Undertaker match. Like, there had to be a match there, and unfortunately they were it. But what they had and what they did,
I like it.
It was good. Their match was good. It was just not in, when you look at the card and you're like, and you guys go on between Lesnar and Goldberg and Reigns Undertaker. You look at that and you just go, oh shit.
Yeah, I know, but in a way, I don't. Maybe it was just because it felt. I like how it felt really important. It felt like this is the women's championship match, and it's going on right before the last match.
True.
And you're right. The flow of it, all that stuff after Brock, people were kind of worn out. But people seemed to love it. Everyone got excited in the stands. And it was really cool to see Naomi. I knew that match was going to go on after dark because her EDM, I knew that would be way better of an entrance during nighttime than the daytime.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to come on at night since they moved it, but yeah, I did not know it was going to be on. What the people behind me were afraid of, they were like, don't tell me they pushed them off the card.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a disaster. Especially with the whatever the fuck the concert was. We didn't even talk about that because it was so stupid. That's when everyone went pee. That's when the line was around the freaking corner for the bathroom. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, super easy to get a drink. They come by you in the stands, or I just went back, I went down, and there were two people in line to, get a beer or hot dog or whatever, and the concessions were so easy. Like, I was afraid that if I was going to get something to eat or drink, I would be missing a match or two. But no, not at all. It was
nice.
I was out of my seat and back in my seat within 10 minutes, so it was perfect.
Cool. And that's it's something interesting to think about this year. The last title match at this year's WrestleMania was the SmackDown Women's title.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. I don't know. I'm sure they could have put Brock and Goldberg there, which I thought they were going to do, and put them maybe between the Triple H and Wyatt, or right after the Bray Wyatt match. But it's really odd that happened. But I thought it was cool. Naomi won in her hometown. I thought that was such a cool moment for her, and people loved her. Like, they went nuts, especially when she won.
Yeah, Naomi has been underrated forever. She was when she debuted as part of the Funkadactyls, who were Brodus Clay's backup dancers years ago. She showed promise then, and has always just never gotten the opportunity to really show what she can do. And now she's finally got a place, and she's in the spotlight, and she showed that she can own it, and she deserves to be SmackDown Women's Champ.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was a ton of fun to watch, and yeah, man, I really liked it. And then the guys, like I said, the guy behind me was like, James Ellsworth, what is? It's just crazy. He's in the last match, before the big one. And I think this is right when the kid next to me, and his dad went. I think they were trying to miss all the traffic.
Yeah.
You know, I thought they were going to the bathroom, but they never came back. So I had a few seats next to me, so I kind of sat there so I could, because the seats are so, I'm a big dude, so the seats are so tiny, even for regular people. So it was nice to breathe a little bit. But we're running against a break. When we get back, we will talk about the final match, Undertaker's last match. Again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM, and we're on the last match of Mania, man. Roman Reigns was booed before he even came out.
Yeah, there's a shot.
God, that was so loud. Thankfully, the kid next to me was gone at that time, so I didn't really feel bad at all. And dude, you could see the look on his face on the big. They had like giant screens everywhere. You can see the look on his face. You could tell he wasn't even happy to be there. Did it come off like that in the?
Oh yeah.
On the TV, you could tell.
Oh yeah.
He was like, well, what? Why am I? I'm sure everyone is envious of him in the WWE, but man, he was just, all right, let's get this over with. And I forgot they played the freaking when JR came out.
Yeah.
They played his that was so cool, man. Everyone was on their feet just cheering for him. I was, that was the one thing I was like, okay, when I get home, I gotta listen to him and see what his commentary was like, and he's gone through so much. If you don't know, his wife has recently passed away. I even think he lost his cat too this week. So, I listened to his podcast and he talked about, he's like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. Should I stay at home and go through this alone, or should I go to Mania and try and be around people? And he kept talking about how that was her favorite weekend and stuff, and she loved WrestleMania weekend, and he thought, am I doing the right thing to go around and be around people that love me and support me and stuff, and am I making the right call? And I hope he did. I hope he found some joy, where it seems there's not. I can't even imagine what's going through his head.
Yeah.
And apparently, it was, apparently he did, and he signed a contract for 2 years, limited role. I imagine he will be at the big shows this year, the big ones. I think his next one, he's going to be in Chicago. You'll probably know which ones he'll be at when he says, hey, I'll be in this city to do one of my Q&A's thing. But I imagine he'll be at the big 4 shows this year and be doing the commentary for them. So that's going to be such a treat to hear him again, especially like, if they do some more Hell in a Cell matches and stuff like that, just how animated he gets.
I want him and King back on commentary for the Royal Rumble next year.
Yes.
Give me that. Just that. Like, don't bring King back full time, because King has not, his commentary skills have not aged tremendously well. But if you stuck the two of them together again with Corey Graves at the Royal Rumble, that's it. You're done. Game over.
Yeah, take JB out of it. Oh, I didn't tell you. Oh, you're going to be so happy I did this. He comes by in a golf cart while we're walking out of the stadium, and he's right in front of us. And I looked him right in the face. He didn't look at me, but I go, stop being a bully. And then he just drove off. I know he heard me. I know for a fact he heard me because I was right in front of him. I didn't say it mean or anything like that. I just go, stop being a bully. Like if someone was at a distance, I'm like, stop being a bully. Just, whoever was driving his cart away drove off. I heard that man's a bully. I don't like that.
He's a prick. Fuck JBL, and he has been forever. According to
apparently the new guy is like what's his name?
Mauro Ranallo. Yeah, he's suffering from depression, and he's had to take some time off to deal with it. And JBL has basically been exactly the kind of macho, worthless asshole by all accounts that you would unfortunately expect. And this is not.
I hate that. Yeah,
It's not the
Yeah.
first time that this has happened. It's not it. I mean, this is just a pattern of his behavior. But for stories going back for a long time, this isn't just a recent thing. People coming forward. It's been like this for a while, and especially from a company that prides itself on its Be a Star anti-bullying campaign, to have somebody like JBL every week for 2 hours sitting there on commentary in front of people and just fuck him.
Yeah, yeah, that pissed me off. So I was surprised. I didn't know who he was doing the commentary with. I just know JR came out and he came out to his football team, which was fantastic. I was surprised. I was like, wait a second, it sounds like football music, and it totally was. But man, that was cool. That was cool that he came out. I'm surprised. It wasn't because they announced King for one of the other ones too. Um, but I'm surprised it wasn't both King and JR for the last one. But yeah, man. Um, Roman Reigns got booed before he even came out. His music played. Everyone hated it. They chanted, "You suck," a whole bunch of things. Oh, that was the other thing we totally skipped when Kurt Angle came out, and everyone in the stands goes, "You suck." Oh, that was fantastic.
God,
Oh my
that
God.
I would love to have been there just for that, just to hear that entire crowd, that
You suck.
stadium full of people. God, that must have been amazing.
And you could tell he got it too. He I think he embraces it. He knows that's his chant, and everyone clapped at the end of it.
Yeah. Oh, he has
It's respect.
yeah, he has for a while. Like he's known he warmed up to that a long time ago. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. See, I didn't know. I didn't watch when he was going towards his end, so I didn't know if yeah. But you could tell he had a big smile on his face, and just the whole stadium cheering for him. That was worth it. Just being in a stadium, hearing that music. I've never heard. This was my first real. I've only been to NXT, so this was my first real wrestling show, and I feel like I was spoiled because that who knows what some of these people are going to be there again. I guess Kurt Angle will because he's doing the GM stuff, but that was really cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Roman stuff, the Roman and Undertaker. So Roman came out, everyone booed him like they were going to, and then everyone knew it was Undertaker's time, and everyone just cheering, "Thank you, Taker," and when the dong hit. And everything got purple and all the smoke, and we kept thinking, where's he going to come from? And then he just rises from the stage, and everything was slow and methodical, and you could see him up on the big cameras, and it was a really surreal moment. It's I don't know. He reminds me of like a Mortal Kombat character,
Yeah.
and they just set that mood that like no, it's just hard to explain. It's just so weird with that Undertaker music and the purple and the fog on the night and everything. And before their match, they did a huge fireworks thing, kind of like the thank you for the record attendance, and then they did all the fireworks. I forgot to say that. Just so this could be like the last thing. So he comes down to the ring, and what did you think of their match?
It was a good match. I mean, for putting everything else aside and just looking at here are these two, putting the personalities aside. Here's big dude and big dude, and they have to have a match. And it got changed to no holds barred, which I don't think anybody had heard about beforehand. Which
Mm-mm.
which tweaked. I mean, they brought a chair in the ring. That was it. But the spots they did were great. The ring work was good. There was the botched tombstone reversal, which we got to be honest about something, is because Taker is not in good shape anymore. And I don't mean I don't mean that he's like he wasn't at the gym. I mean like his body just can't do some of these things anymore.
And
And
I thought it played well with the story they were telling. Like especially towards the end when he gets up and he can't get all the way up and he leans over.
yeah.
Botching some things. It goes right along with that. I think it was. I think it was more. There was more action than I thought there was going to be because the way Undertaker looked at the Royal Rumble, it didn't look good, and he's been beat up and bruised, and I didn't know how long he was going to last in this match, what they were going to be able to do, but I thought they put on a good show. They it was and then he just kept hitting him with spear after spear after spear after spear, and he just wouldn't he would kept getting back up. Taker chokeslam after chokeslam after chokeslam, and they kept doing, they went through the table and everything else, and was it was fun to watch. And I think it was bittersweet the whole time I was watching it. It just ran through the back of your head the whole time. This is his last match. This is it. Um, Neither one of us wanted this to be, the no. I don't think either one of us wanted Roman to be the one that retires him.
No.
I think it would have been much better Cena, or I mean, hell, I would have even had Braun, someone that could have really used the boost. But it just did not feel right with Roman. I think it's I mean, this better than I do. It's the fact that he's being pushed on us as the guy instead of naturally becoming the guy, kind of like Daniel Bryan was.
Yeah.
Right. The it seems that there's so many other people that are naturally becoming the guy. That, for example, the Miz. The Miz is naturally becoming the guy. AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, even Jericho right now is so over. And all of these people are doing fantastic stuff. Roman's doing good, but he doesn't seem on the same level as them. He seems like he's there because he got in by the back door or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Puts on great work, but it didn't feel right. But it is what it is. We all knew it was going to be his last match. We all knew Undertaker was going to lose because that's just the rules. And it put him in a small group of people. Just him and Brock now. There's a small group of people that did what he did, and he got nuclear heat because of it. People booed him out of the building. I don't know if they played it on the network. I watched it, but I forgot. But he was booed right out. There's nobody that was on their feet not booing at him. And one thing they didn't show on television that they showed at the stadium was once he did the 1, 2, 3, a bunch of people in the front row flicked off the camera. When I went back and watched it on the network, they completely went to a different camera.
Well, sure.
Yeah, because that whole first crowd just flicked off the camera, like, fuck you, that's not what we wanted. But yeah, he got the 1, 2, 3. One of the coolest things in the match, and I could even tell on the big screen, was when he goes, when Undertaker, he said something like, "You don't have the balls" or something like that.
Yeah.
And or you get like, "This is my yard." That back and forth was pretty cool. And then that was it. Yeah, he lost, and Roman immediately got out of there and put his hands in the air, and they did a bunch of fireworks. And then it was like 15 minutes of the Undertaker getting up, everyone clapping and cheering, and him taking off the gloves and the coat and the hat, and everyone just cheering and just thank you, Taker. And he walked slowly up. He walked around. I think he kissed his wife and stuff. Walked to the ramp, and then just put his hand in the air, and then everybody in the stands lifted their hand in the air with him, which was really cool. Everyone was cheering, but at the same time there was a somber.
Yeah.
People were a little bit quiet when he put his hand in the air. Because they had like all the fake lightning going around in the smoke, and it just felt so surreal. It felt like you were in a freaking video game or something. The production of this was insane. And then he just disappeared in the ramp, and there was so much fog you couldn't see, but you just saw him. You could see him. You just see him disappear down, which I thought was a really cool trick that they did. Like he just vanished, never to be seen again.
Yeah.
But I thought, man, and then that was it. And then the lights slowly came back on, and everyone left, and man, I felt beat. I felt like I don't know, like day drinking all day. It seemed like, you know what I mean? Like it just felt like
Yeah.
I was done, ready to go home. But it was surreal. What did you think of it?
The show as a whole was fantastic. It was one of the best WrestleManias in recent memory, no question. And the way they ended it, the way they left, they could have done any number of things with the Undertaker at the end after Roman left. But but they gave him the time that he more than anybody who will probably ever grace a WWE ring deserved. There
Right.
has never been anybody with the consistency and the loyalty and the willingness to stand by the company and by Vince and for he was the old guard personified in all the right ways. He wasn't the
Hmm.
old, drinking, partying, drugs attitude that people think of with old wrestling. He took you got to remember, he took that Undertaker character, and although he changed it really just one time for something that was a product of the times, he switched to that American badass character.
Right.
In largely, I have to believe, now I don't know, this is just nothing but pure speculation, it had to be maybe a little bit of fatigue with the Undertaker character, with the dead man persona, but also in kind of a response to 9/11, because there was
Hmm.
a handful of that kind of character shift. But
Yeah.
he's been the
Oh yeah,
Undertaker.
definitely of the time.
Yeah, but he's been the Undertaker for over 26 years. That's
Yeah.
and he grabbed that character, and you think about that. That character is a product of the 90s. That was 90s wrestling, the 80s to 90s. Like that was kind of a character that was like, "Oh, okay, this is a gimmick and it's a little broad, but it's going to eventually be kind of silly." And he had the talent, and he had the know-how and the wherewithal to find the right ways to tweak it, to make sure that it never seemed campy, it never seemed silly. Even in freaking 2017, he comes out in the hat, and the coat, and the smoke, and lifts his hands, and the lights come up, and he rolls his eyes back as he takes off the hat, and it's not
Hmm.
goofy. It's not something to laugh at.
No.
It's it
No.
he he is probably the greatest institution that the WWE has ever had, above Hogan, above Rock, above Cena, above Austin, for his sheer longevity, and for the fact that if, you know, oh yeah, Austin had a handful of years, Rock had a handful of years, Hogan had a comparable run. Hogan was there for a long time, off and on, but Undertaker consistently for 26 and a half years was
No.
with that company, ups and downs, good and bad, and I have no shame, man. I cried at the end of Mania just watching that whole thing. It was a moment. It was an
No.
absolute end of an era, and the only reason that they haven't officially declared retirement, I think, is because they want to see what happens after the surgery. But I genuinely think he's done, and that was the way they played it,
Yeah.
and I think that's what they're anticipating. But damn, do I want to see somebody in a couple years have a rematch with Roman and end it with a tombstone. They get hit with a Superman punch, their eyes roll back, they dodge a spear, and they
Oh yeah.
tombstone him, and it's there's a sense of closure there. The Undertaker, the spirit
Yeah.
of
They
the
they
Undertaker,
channeled the Undertaker.
exactly, the spirit of the Undertaker will always be in the WWE. That kind of thing. It makes for a great story element, but it was, yeah, that was something.
Oh yeah, dude. I couldn't agree more. That would be a great way to close off a match. Yeah, man. Well, we're coming up against a break. When we get back, we will get into some news, since that's about it. Or we still got a little bit Raw and SmackDown to talk about. But
Yeah.
again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. We'll see you guys all in a minute. Welcome back to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. And we just got done talking about the Undertaker, and man, yeah, dude, I can't. I couldn't have said it better myself, man. It was surreal, and that will be another one of those moments that just people will never forget. It was really cool. And one thing it did, was it gave Roman so much heat going into Raw. It was gonna. I was really curious what was gonna happen the next day, with everything. And when the show opened up and it was just Roman and his music hits, and like you said, it was like 12 or 17 minutes of just no talking, and the whole stadium booing him, calling him an asshole, saying "fuck you, Roman." Um, that was crazy. That was, I couldn't tell. Was it because it was the Mania crowd? Was it because it was Orlando? Was it all of it? Like, I couldn't. Was it because just the under? It was. I've never seen someone so hated in wrestling, um,
It
where they
was
just can't say anything for 12 minutes.
Yeah, it was the absolute perfect storm for that for that like that was exactly what was going to happen. And the show opened and I clocked this earlier. I went through the audio just to see. It's a little over 2 minutes for the Undertaker chants, which then transition into the Undertaker slash Roman sucks chants. His music hits and he comes out and he stands in that ring for just about 12 and a half minutes before he finally drops what now how this promo will be judged in retrospect because what its impact is going to be depends on the character going forward. If he's just back to regular old Roman Reigns, then this promo was garbage. If he's actually a smug, insufferable asshole the way that he desperately needs to be, then his 5-word promo this week, the only thing he said is going to be the most amazing thing of the year. But it's going to depend on him going forward. Just to stand there and looking at the crowd and even gesture. The one thing that I couldn't get, I had to go back and see, like, what's he pointing at his hand for? He's not pointing at his wrist. He's not looking for the time. Oh, he's saying he's got that crowd in the palm of his hand. And that,
Right.
to me, that was a brilliant tiny piece of character work of, like, I know what I'm doing. Look at this. This is how important I am. I could do whatever the fuck I want right now. That's
Yeah.
how it read to me, and just a
Mm-hmm.
simple just what he said, and there was just that hint of smugness, and I wanted it to be a little more pronounced, not too much, not over the top, but I want this to be the catalyst of just the I am Roman Reigns, I am the big dog, but it's not a sort of because all of his promos are middling. Everything is, well, I got a lot of respect for you, but your time has passed, blah, 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 blah. No, pick a side. Either
Right.
he could have gone the honorable route of, look, this is how it is, and we need to settle this. Or you go the heel route of, you're a broken down old man, you're a relic, you're a fossil, you need to get the hell out of my yard. And they didn't do either of that. They stuck straight middle of the road, and that is why people hate Roman Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
Because Roman
Yep.
is emblematic of all of this
Mm-hmm.
spineless kind of ballless, directionless booking. And we're not going to know until next week when he does anything or says anything, if this promo was tremendous, if it was the beginning of what Roman Reigns ought to be, or if it was just the next piece of garbage in the continued nothingness that is the Roman Reigns character.
Right, and I think that's what was kind of upsetting about it was that when you heard the commentary when they were like,
Oh,
people are booing when they should be cheering, to like they were trying to turn it. That's when I was like, okay, someone's telling them like, let's get this turned around. Like, this ship has sailed. It is gone. It has left the harbor. It is halfway across the world. There's no turning the ship around. When Vince McMahon came out, I loved how they were like, what did they say? Fuck you, Roman, or
Roman
something like
sucks. They
that.
chanted Roman
Roman
sucks at
sucks.
Vince McMahon, which I thought, God bless this fucking crowd. God bless every single one of their precious little hearts for that.
Yep, like tell him right to his face. And Vince McMahon couldn't even talk for a little bit. Like, he
Uh-huh.
was like, "There's something wrong with you guys." um, yeah, man, it was crazy. And yeah, that Roman stuff just was, that was just. I was talking with some of my friends. I'm like, I've never seen this before, like this, and that's when you know it's good. That's when wrestling is at its best. Is when they surprise you, when you've seen things you just never saw before, and yeah, like you said, just this is my yard now, and drop the mic, and it's going to be interesting seeing moving forward. Hopefully, he does just become this asshole, and he embraces it, and he doesn't have to. I don't think he has to turn into like a crazy evil person or anything like that. He just has to be. He's everything Kevin Owens thinks he is. You
Yes.
know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
oh man, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, yeah, and he doesn't even have to say anything. He just it's one of those doesn't have to say it, doesn't have to express it. They don't have to do anything like that. He just is what it is. Leave it like that, and to get that many people in the stands all chanting the same thing at the same time is insane. And it did not stop all night. They just did not they were chanting Roman sucks in random places, and then I loved when Vince come down. I want more Vince. Like I miss that guy. He it's always entertaining when he comes out. He to me, he's always been my favorite heel. This timing is impeccable. He knows what to say. He doesn't mind embarrassing himself. I love it when he gets angry. His voice
Yeah.
just gets crazy. And I like the way he introduced Kurt Angle, and I just loved how everyone chanted Roman sucks. Like, okay, we get it. Well, loud and clear.
If
And
that's how
hopefully,
you really feel, that was what he says were exact words. Oh, if that's how you really feel. It's
right, exactly.
yes,
I hope
Vince, it is
that's
how
an
we
eye
really
opener.
fucking feel.
Yeah, like there's no going back at this point. It's the problem is they need someone to stand out to be like that's our guy because I mean it just sucks. AJ's getting buried. Kevin Owens gets the belt taken off of him right before Mania. It's hard to find someone really like a good guy to back. They don't really have much. They have Sami Zayn who gets buried every time he goes out there. Uh, Jericho, who's on his way out, Seth Rollins, who's finally now starting to get his footing back again, and now they have Baylor, finally made his way back. So I think once they finally get a face that's better than Roman Reigns, that gets more crazy people crazier, that's when it's going to take off.
Yeah.
But you know, let's talk about who came out. What were some of the moments from Raw that you liked the most?
The revival. The revival on Raw. Yes. I've got to quote Corey Graves, man, 1,000 times. Yes. Like just
Yes.
we had the Hardys defend against the club in a good match. It was a solid match. And then the New Day are like, we'll take on anybody. And I genuinely didn't know. That was one where I
What
was
about their outfits?
I
What about New Day's ice cream?
the
Fad.
Legion of Doom ice cream. What was the one commentary line? Oh my god, it's the Legion of Dumb. I was like,
Yes.
God,
I
oh
never change New Day. Always stay fun. And I
no,
mean,
just yeah.
Woods had the boxing gloves of ice cream. It was just stay goofy all the time. I
Yeah.
never want them to change. I thought they'd be selling the New Day pops at WrestleMania, but I didn't see any. Maybe they were in a vendor that I didn't see, but I figured people will be in the stands, selling that stuff for $5 a pop or whatever.
I don't think they have them yet. I don't think they're a real thing yet.
What a shame. That would have been perfect in Orlando.
Right? No kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, they would have sold out immediately of those things, but
Yeah.
but but yeah, man, I agree. The revival, that was a really cool moment. I wasn't expecting that, um, and that was really fun to see.
Yeah.
Um,
And the segment with Kurt and Enzo and Cass was gorgeous. Kurt everybody needs to go to school on Kurt Angle's like 6 lines during that promo, during that segment because
mhm.
that's comedic timing and it's Kurt being so brilliant because that's who Kurt was. Just the
Yeah,
and Enzo, I loved Enzo just as he's rattling off these questions and then ending with the difference between Goofy and Pluto. It's like, yes, thank you. Somebody finally asking the hard hitting journalistic questions. And then
oh yeah,
Angle at the end. Like they've done their thing and they're gone. Let the camera linger for a second. That's not how you spell soft.
yeah,
Just
that's perfect.
it was with
That was
no theatrics, no big deal. Just him genuinely standing there like, wait a minute, that was wrong. Like it's like
yeah,
brilliant, fucking brilliant.
yeah,
Uh,
it was really good. That was really good. I like that. Um, Enzo and Cass lost the number one contendership. Do you think with the shakeup, you think they're going to SmackDown? Maybe
They might. I don't know what's going to happen with this because it's not a draft. They're not calling it a draft. So
it's a shakeup.
I have no idea what the hell is going to happen. And I like that.
I like this. This is just we're gonna mix things up, and maybe Enzo and Cass would shine on SmackDown where there's doesn't seem to be that many good tag teams. It just seems to be so one sided, with with especially the tag team titles.
Yeah.
With the tag teams, I mean, it would be nice to see them switch it up so SmackDown has some competition. They have Usos, they have American Alpha, but I think with a team like Enzo and Cass, they could really shine on SmackDown, and maybe get them with Carmella or something. That would be cool. I don't know. I think that'd be interesting. Now there's just so many tag teams.
Yeah.
That's one thing coming out of this whole week. There's just so many tag teams now, so it'd be nice to see it switched up.
Yeah. I just want to see them. I want to see them draft James Ellsworth to Raw.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what about the whole NXT Championship tag team match at the end? Baylor coming out.
Yeah. God, it was amazing to look at this because that took me a minute watching this, and I was like, wait a minute. Joe was NXT champ. Rollins was NXT champ. Balor was NXT champ. Holy shit, we've got 4 former NXT champs in this ring.
Like, it would have been funny if Bo Dallas came out for a moment and goofed up, and they're like, "You're not in the match."
that would have been amazing and depressing at the same time.
It would have been a big moment for him. It would have been like, oh, wait a second, like kind of like when R-Truth came out and it wasn't his match. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, if you both leave, and they're like, go away. Yeah. I don't know, something, or him interfering and costing the match. That would have been cool.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, have him come out and do that to like the Wyatt music and cost the match. That would have been fucking crazy. Oh man, like possibilities would have been endless, but that would have been fun.
Yeah.
But it's cool. That was really cool to see them in the show like that. Baylor got such a pop, man. Jesus, people love him.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got a few minutes. Let's talk about SmackDown. Do you like SmackDown?
I love SmackDown. I hated the main event. We'll get the negative out of the way first because that was, again, it was boring. It was uneventful. What was the big return for this main event? It was Eric Rowan, and everybody went, oh yeah, the other tall guy from the Wyatt family who didn't really do a whole awful lot. Like, not that right. Main event was pointless. It did nothing. It served nothing.
Right. Yeah. I agree. It did. To put Randy Orton somewhere else, put him away for a minute.
But we had, Kurt Hawkins comes out and he goes, I'm issuing an open challenge. So if anyone comes out here at the count of 10, and here comes Ty. I lost my shit, man, because I knew Shinsuke was going to debut. We knew Nakamura was going to be here. And they brought the dude with the violin from the one takeover, which was awesome. That was fantastic, and I loved it. But seeing, oh my God, here's Ty making his main roster debut, and I know people kind of poo-pooed on like, oh, and they gave him Kurt Hawkins, really? Like, yeah, but it got him on the show, and so
and it was a way for him to look really dominant and the crowd to just totally eat him up and to do the 10 chant on that was one thing I noticed during Mania. Everything was 10.
Yeah.
Whenever they count out, it was 10. Anytime they did 1, 2, 3, it was 10. It was just cool. It's definitely caught on, man. He's got something. Just take it as far as you can. Who knows how long it will take before it gets old, but hey, keep doing it if it's getting you over. But yeah, no, especially the Nakamura thing, man. That I've been waiting for that since that. It was right when I started watching again. That guy caught my eye where I was like, that guy is different. That guy is different than anything I've ever seen, and he just walking style, total Japanese. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that's weird to say, but his presence just reminds me of, like, I don't know. It's just different. He's like a walking, talking, like, just, I don't know how to explain it. Almost like a Kojima character or something. You know what I mean? Like, he's just over the top, flamboyant, Just ridiculous and poetic at the same time with the way he does his bow and stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just so cool. His whole entrance and the way he fights and stuff, and he's so weird and different, and I fucking love it. I eat it up. So when it's the uh, what's the word I'm looking for here? It just I don't know. I'll think of it. The pageantry of it all.
Yeah.
That's the word with him coming out. It was just great. He didn't even do anything. He just came out and said hi, and then that was it. They cut to commercial.
That was
I
all.
like that he came out to interrupt the Miz and Maurice doing their whole little bit. Uh, who knows? At this point, it's we don't know who's going to be on SmackDown. We don't know who's going to be on Raw. Oh, how about AJ? Did he turn face tonight? I
I
think
think
he
that
did.
yeah, I think that's exactly what that was, and
I
that's
think.
exactly what he needed. It's exactly what he needed.
Uh-huh. Well, people were cheering for him too much. Like he can't be a bad guy anymore. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I like how at the end he faked it and he was like, "Nah, just kidding. I got respect for you." So,
Yeah.
you know, who knows? I liked how he was like, "I don't want to go to Raw. That SmackDown is my home." So that was pretty cool. And I think that means he's definitely going to Raw.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, but we got to wrap it up. Yeah, I know it's been all wrestling this week. We'll get into some new. We'll get in all news next week. We'll save all the stuff for next week. All the cool stuff like the Invincible movie and all that other stuff. And Destiny 2 and whatnot.
And
But
Batgirl, directed by
um,
Joss Whedon. Jesus Christ. Like,
yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. See, I didn't even see that. That's awesome.
yeah.
Um, oh, that's crazy news. Is that rumor or is that
Oh no,
real?
that's real. That's legit.
That's that's fucking awesome. We'll get into all that news next week. I'm gonna be reading some X-Men comics and whatnot. Gonna be playing Persona 5, so I'll be talking all about that. So tune in next week, 9 p.m. on Eastern Time on the N.FM, and we post our podcast the next day. iTunes, Podbean, all the great choices. Make sure you go to our Twitter at Adam Estep, at the Logan Witt, at We Geek Podcast, our Facebook group. Make sure you go over to our iTunes and give us a review. And let us let us if you want us to talk about more about wrestling, let us know. If you want us to talk about less, let us know too. But this was just one of those big episodes we'll probably do once a year whenever Mania hits. Contemplating going I really now want to go to New Orleans next year and do the whole thing. But we'll see. We'll see how broke I am. But yeah, until next week, again, you're listening to We Geek Podcast on the N.FM. Captain.
Captain.